guys, welcome back to Lex Reads. Welcome back to Vlogmas. So in this video, I wanted to share with you my reading goals for next year, for 2023. I am a person that I make TBRs and I actually follow them. I need to because I need structure. That's literally how my mind works. My mind works like this. It's like a list. So TBRs really work well for me. And then of course, throughout the year, I always will read something like a spontaneous read, or if it's something I just really want to read, I'll throw it in there. But I, again, follow the TBR. So this is my TBR for next year. This is a cart. I got it from, well, it was my aunt's. I know she got it from Home Goods. Usually for the past 2 years, 2-3 years, I would do something called a 3-author project where I would focus on 3 authors' whole fictional catalog. So one year I did James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, and Bernice McFadden. The last year I did Ernest J. Gaines, Edwidge Jonty Cat, and Maya Angelou. And then this year I didn't do a 3-author project. I just focused on books from the Harlem Renaissance because I just wanted to really dig, you know, into that that era in time. And I'm still going to continue to do that next year. I'm not going to do the 3-author project like I normally do. But one thing I'm going to focus on, I'm going to focus on 3 series, and then obviously these books here. So I know the first book that I am going to be reading for the year, and that is going to be Pleasure by Eric Jerome Dickey. Now this is the Nia series. It is 3 books in the series. I want to start with that, and I'll link the video down below of like the 3 series that I'm going to focus on next year. Next series that I'm going to read next year is God Don't Like Ugly by Marion Monroe. Oh, how many is in this? I want to say 6 or 8, somewhere around there. But I am going to be reading that. And then another series, which I do not have any of the books, is the Fly Girl series by Omar Tariq. I am going to be reading that. I'm really excited about that because I have never read any of his works, and I believe that's a 3-book series. Again, for this year, I'm going to be focused on Harlem Renaissance and then those 3-book series. I actually put out a lot of books that were actually on my shelves already. I like to break them down in categories. So the first category I'm going to talk about is YA. So I'm going to be reading You Truly Assume by Alayla Sabrin. I love this cover. And then Caprice by Cole Booth. I always like to incorporate some YAs in my reading because sometimes they can be good. I've had some really good luck with, I don't like to use luck. I had some really good experiences with reading some YAs this year. So I'm really excited to implement that in next year's reading. Next, what I want to read for next year is classics. And of course, they're going to be Black classics. So the first one I want to read is Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And then I also want to read Juneteenth by him. Now, I think, is this a novel or a short story? No, this is a novel. So yeah, I do want to get into him because I watched a documentary about him this year and was just flabbergasted. So I have never read any of his works, and of course I have them. So yes. Another classic that I'm going to be reading is Jubilee by Margaret Walker. I'm so excited to read this because you guys know I love slave narratives. So they always get me where I need to be. So I really wanted to read this. And I think also too, what intrigued me is Margaret Walker actually sued Alex Haley. Alex Haley, of course, wrote Roots, and she said he was taking some of, you know, her information. The case was dismissed and she didn't win, but that also intrigued me. So I want to know, like, what, you know, what's that about? So yeah, I'm excited for this. And of course, I'm always going to implement, you know, just Black women authors in my reading. So I'm going to read Pearl Cleage, What Looks Like Crazy on an Ordinary Day. I know she's known for this book. Diane McKinney Westone, Leaving Cicely Street. I read last year, the beginning of January, Blues Dancing, and was just flabbergasted. McKinney Westone, amazing. all her stories are set in Philadelphia. She's from Philadelphia, and she just knows how to capture a story. So next I want to read Uncle Tom's Children by Richard Wright. Now this is a novella, and this actually was his first book that came out in 1938. So I've only read Native Son and Black Boy and absolutely love them. So of course, I wanted to start with his debut novel. Next, we have Zadie Smith on beauty. I have almost all of her books, and for some reason, I get her books and never read them. So I was like, you know what? I want to start with On Beauty. I believe this is also a debut novel of hers. So yeah, I've listened to so many of her interviews, and I really just like her whole vibe. So I think I am gonna like her writing. Next is Small Island by Andre Levy. I've had this for years. Set in England in 1940s, I believe 1948. But a black couple that they're Jamaican, I believe, and they moved to England. Now, this was actually a TV series on BBC, I think, and it starred, what's my girl? Naomi Harris. And I cannot find for the life of me that series. I think I might have to order it. I'm gonna have to look that up, but really what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read this, and then if I can get the series, watch it, because I'm a huge fan of Naomi Harris, like huge fan. Next is Daughter by Asha Bandoli, I think. So of course you already know I always want to get authors that are not really well known, and this, when I read the synopsis, I was hooked. I think this is about a daughter that gets murdered. It's like an accident, and you see how that goes. I think that's the synopsis of it. I know this is probably going to be really hard, because Lord, when women get murdered, killed, or when kids get murdered or killed, girl, it's hard. But I know how to navigate it. So I've read a couple books that have that theme in them, and I was able to get, through it. So yeah, I am excited to read this. And then the last one is Jam on the Vine by LaShonda Katrina. This is another book that, is not really well known. People don't really talk about. I wanted to get this because Dee Dee from Brown Girls Reading, she talked about this and highly praised it. So I always like to take her advice when it comes to books. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. And then these ones are also by Black authors. Well, of course, you already know that's what I do. We got to throw in a Donna Hill. I've read 2 Donna Hill books and was amazed. Her writing is beyond amazing. So this one, I'm going in blind. I'm not even reading the synopsis. I just want to go in and look at this cover. This cover is so pretty. And then I'm going to also dive into this, Great Short Stories by African American Writers. And this has short stories by Ralph Ellison, Langston Hughes, W.E. Du Bois, Charles W. Chestnut, Paul Laurence Dunbar, so many. So I am excited to get into this because I have discovered this year I like short stories. At one point I didn't like them because I felt like I didn't get any closure, but I was like, girl, that's why it's called short stories, not a novel. So once I got that out of my mind, then I really started to accept them and realize I really like them. So yes. The next is All the Lonely People by Mike Gale. Herbert is an older man. His wife has passed. His daughter is older and, has moved away. And he makes his fictional life. He creates his fictional life to her. Like every time when she calls, he tells his daughter oh, he, went out with such and such friend and all this. So one day she says, you know what, Daddy, I'm going to come up and see you. He realized, oh Lord, I am light and told this girl I have this whole life and I'm always going out and got these, friends I'm always with, and he don't have none of that. He's basically by himself. So you see what he has to do. And I always want to incorporate Black males in my reading. So yeah, I'm excited. So yeah. And then another Black male, which I am so excited to read, Daniel Black's Don't Cry for Me. I read A Perfect Peace. Unbelievable. Daniel Black can write, okay? So this I'm already excited about. I don't even know what it's about, but he's one of those authors where if he writes something, I will get it. And This was his latest novel that came out this year, so I will be reading it next year. I'm excited. And this cover is so pretty. All right, so you see I got all these black writers, right? Y'all know that's what I do. But I do have some that are not by us blacks, okay? The first one is Karen Joy, is it Floral? This is called Booth. This is about John Wilkes Booth. You guys know John Wilkes Booth. He assassinated Abraham Lincoln. But his family, the background of his family, they were actors. And that's all I know. Okay? And I know that there was a lot of them. I wanted to read this after I saw PETA from Comfy Cozy Up talk about this book. I literally went out and got it. And y'all know I'm cheap. I usually wait until it come on paperback or if it's a sale. But I said, no, I have to read this because I don't know anything about John Wilkes Booth except what he did. Okay. So I'm so excited about this. I know that it is like a historical fiction. And I don't know if there is a historical fiction book about John Wilkes Booth. Of course, I know there's, you know, like nonfiction books and essays and things like that. But just a fiction book about him, and not only him, but his family. I think I'm gonna like this because I like historical fiction. Next is Strange Fruit by Lillian Smith. Now this book, this was banned, okay, back in the 1940s because it talks about a black girl that starts to go with a white boy. And girl, it's set in Georgia in the 1920s. What intrigued me, obviously, was the fact that this book was banned. And it was published in 1948. A black woman and a white boy in the 1920s in the South. You already, girl, that's intriguing right there. So I'm so excited to read this. And look at this cover. And this is the only book that Lillian Smith actually wrote. So yeah. Next is The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. This is the first edition. Yo, I got the first edition of Joy Luck Club. I have never read this book. I've seen half of the movie. So again, what I'm going to do is read this book and then watch the movie. I wanted to read this because I watched an interview with her, I think it was this year. And she was talking about her mom and just her family and everything like that. And I said, you know what? When I research or look up a person, and if they have, and clearly if they're an author, I will pick up something by them. And I know she is known for this. Yeah, I had to get this. Next is The Beautiful and Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I've only read The Great Gatsby. Love The Great Gatsby. So I went to read another book by him. Again, I saw a documentary of him and his wife and was just amazed. This book was only $9.95. The Barnes & Noble Signature Edition, their covers are just getting unbelievable. So the fact that this book was only $10, I had to get it. And they have other titles and stuff that are considered classics. I've had this on my shelf for the past 2 years and still haven't read it. I'm reading it this year, okay? It's Joyce Carol Oates. When We Were the Mulvaneys. I know this is an Oprah book club back in the day. This also was a Lifetime movie, and I do remember seeing half of it. So you already know what I'm gonna do. Read it and then watch the movie. But yeah, I've never read any Joyce Carol Oates. I know she is a seasoned author. Oh, and then the last book I forgot to share with you guys actually is this. I actually got this year. Nobody's Magic by Destiny O. Birdsong. This cover, unbelievable. And I know this is set in Louisiana. Y'all know I love you guys know I love stories set in the South and especially Louisiana. Then again, this cover just intrigued me. Like, look at this. This is so pretty. So yeah, guys, that's all the books on my shelves that I am going to be diving into next year. Like I said, of course, I might, you know, read some spontaneous reads too. I know I'm going to add more to this list because there's some new releases that are coming out next year that I really want to, that I know I'm going to read. For example, Sadiqa Johnson, who wrote The Yellow Wife. I know she's coming out with a book in February, and I will be getting it the day that it comes out because her writing is unbelievable. So yeah, all these books on this TBR cart, they are going to be read. These are books I have to read. So yeah, guys, that's all I have. Oh, Of course, we have to mention our 3 songs that we're going to be listening to. It's still Vlogmas. Okay, let's pull it up. So the first song I'm going to be listening to today is Luther Vandross' Every Year. Luther Vandross. All right. The next song I'm going to listen to is Escape, Christmas Without You.
I want you to come home. I know that there won't be a Christmas.
Now, I have never, this is the first time I heard this song, and I actually really like it. I watched a video of them singing it live, and it was really good. And then, I mean, I like Escape. And then the last song I'm going to listen to is CeCe Winans featuring BB Winans, and it's called What a Child.
Oh, what a child. He came and died for love.
I grew up listening to this song, grew up listening to that Christmas album called The Gift. I am a CeCe fan, okay? Well, grew up listening to the Winans. So CeCe's gonna be on my list a lot for the Christmas songs this year. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you. I'll be back with more Black Books. Bye.